Hi, Robert. This is our IMM project. It is a space game, and we're just going to show off all the scripts and everything. We're not going to go through everything because doing it would literally take us about an hour to do. So, my name is Richard, and I'll hand you off to the other two now. Dimitri?
Hello. Uh, I'll go straight into the game now. Now, pressing play, immediately you'll see multiple features here. First off, we do have background music here in Czech, just for the gameplay itself. You also see at the bottom left here, there's a debris count, which counts as much as debris as it can, which is used to actually win the game. Which is, you need to actually get the debris and bring it back to the ship to then win the game. Now, also, I do have a cursor hiding element here, which I can show you just now. We have a cursor manager here, just mainly used to actually hide it there. We also have set actives used, which are found in the rubric we need to mention. This turns it off once you actually press onto the screen. This one just actually has a cursor, the crosshair on the screen itself. Now, I'll be moving on to Yuli.
Hi, Robert. So I'll be talking about the oxygen meter first. So as you can see here, I have a front health bar, back health bar, and a frame. This is a very basic package that I obtained. And the logic for it here is we have a max health alert timer, so it slowly goes down over time. The background is just so it doesn't go blank as the health's going down, so it has a blue background. Down here, you see, just sets the max health. The damage over time, it's just a certain amount of time that goes down here. I clamped it here because just to make sure that it doesn't go below the minimum or above the max, because we have the fill amount here and the restore health. So this ties into the oxygen refill here. So if we go down here, it finds the player health and assigns it. And then once the oxygen meter is interacted with, this health bar goes right back up to full. So I'll show you now the functionality of it going down over time. Right here in the scene. So as you can see, the health slowly goes down. A massive issue I had with this initially making it was that a lot of trial and error was done because the health bar went down far too fast. But eventually that was fixed. So I will go back over to one of you.
Yep. Now, if we go over to my screen now, initially, in the initial stages of the game, our inspiration was probably No Man's Sky, because we thought the concept would not only look really nice, very visually pleasing, but the concept itself shouldn't be too hard. Now, actually, while I have here, I'll also move you on into the collisions. Here we have multiple sections. Now, there's collisions with the asteroids that you'll see here. There's animations and sound effects for the door shown. They all spawn in a random radius of 500, 500, 500. Same with the debris and oxygen tanks, which spawn around the map here. We also have hazards in the game to actually, which was a quite bigger challenge because with the colliders, as if now. When it's fixed, when you go up to the black holes themselves, the outer mesh and the collider would actually pull you in at an accelerating rate until you hit the middle mesh or collider here in the middle, which would then lead you to a game over scene. Now, if I move and try to collect the debris myself, now just for the video's purpose, you only need to collect one debris. But for the game itself, we're thinking of setting the limit to around 50. Now, as I head back now, the door. We're close the door there. This will lead me straight into the repair panel, which then used to actually, repair the ship in a sense. Now, with this, you should go to the game over scene. Now, this will move us on to scripting, so over to you, Richard.
Yeah, so just to start, Dimitri, can you pause the game because the sound is bleeding through a little bit?
Yeah,
Yeah,
pause
perfect.
there.
So I'm sure you noticed that there was a little bit of momentum, and Dimitri, I'm still on your screen as well. If you can start the game there and just show off the little bit of momentum that is attached to the player. So just tap W or yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
moving there.
so as you see, there is a little bit of momentum added to the player, and that's where is it? It is over here. It's this is the momentum decay factor. So this what happens is the player's speed gets decelerated by 0.98 f, as you see there. Um, my main challenge on this, honestly, was actually just getting the movement system itself functioning, because the initial code for the movement system here, it was just a horizontal movement, so forward, backward, left and right, and I wanted to add obviously up and down because this is a space game, so that code you can see over here. Um, and on top of that, I figured I add a little bit extra, so I added in the momentum. And the other thing that we added in, which was Dimitri, I believe, was a booster pack. And what the booster pack does is it just makes you go faster. However, because you are using oxygen to essentially move around, that's your EVA suit, using the booster pack does drain your oxygen or quote unquote health faster. Um, as one of you said, there are oxygen tanks around the map, and those will in fact recharge your health. So you can see the health going down there slowly. And Dimitri, if you navigate to one of the oxygen tanks there,
I'm using the boost as we speak, trying to get.
you're using the boost as well. Oh dear,
Yeah,
will you make it? uh, slowly but surely, yeah. It's important to note that there's also an oxygen refill tank inside the ship itself. There we are. So you heard that there's lucky little sound effects for when you pick up um, the debris and the oxygen tank. And just from there, we're going to move over onto the interactions itself. So I did the framework for the basic interactions, and the way the interactions themselves work is the game creates a little line in front of the player in their viewpoint, and that's the cursor that you can see there. That's basically where the line is. Um, the line itself can only be seen in the scene editor itself. Obviously, it'd be a bit distracting if there was a massive, like, 3 foot line in front of your face. So that is set to invisible. And yeah, that's pretty much just from there. We're going to pass it on to someone else now. So, who's it?
it'll be back to me
Yeah.
now. Just going over the rubric and the different scripting conditions that we need. Firstly, our use of instantiate. This would be shown in the debris spawn, which actually spawns the debris. Now, I do have a manager outside the script, which makes it, which has parameters to set it for you to choose the distance and the amount it spawns and the minimum distance they spawn from each other. This one is purely for the sake of this one does not rotate at all, which also uses quaternion identity, which I believe is used in challenge 4. Now, this also has a random spawn, which spawns anywhere in the XYZ spectrum, and whatever the zone is picked. In this case, again, 500, 500, 500. Now, later on in the script as well, I have shown that there is a counter, or a list in this case, which actually is added on. So if the list in the list is all the new debris gets added in. If it's if it's clipping into something, or it's within a certain area of another object, any other object, it gets put into a list and gets destroyed. Uh, if it isn't, it just gets added to the list, and that process repeats itself all over until you get the certain amount, which I think in this case is 10. Or or is it 20 debris that spawns into the game? This number is changeable within the debris manager. will be shown here. Now, I believe this is on to Yuli.
Yeah, so as you can see from the game being played and all the scripts, there are no errors. All the buttons that we have in the game work, including the sound effects. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with the game. Everything works as intended. And that's about it.
Now, actually, if I may add something, one of the challenges I actually did have, one of them would be the animation, as I still couldn't get used to it before. Now, initially, I just had the door open and door close functions, or the animations. Now, for the door close, I initially had only one animation, not door close, door open, and then I only had the transitions between them and had a bool parameter set up. And the problem with this was I couldn't find a way to reverse it. So in this case, I actually just had to manually animate it again for the door close, as you can probably see here. Now, the problem I had with this was with only having these two is when I actually started playing the game would start with an animation which I didn't want, which led to these two states being made, which just shown like the game either starts and idly closed or idly open. Also, another big issue I had was the use of Blender, which I did not have any experience in. I'll show you in the scene here. One of our problems that we couldn't find a way to resolve was actually trying to make a hole just into certain objects, and also making it just so it's visible from the inside. Now with this is an example of a sphere that I made, which I had to make hollow and then also quite roughly cut out just the polygons in Blender, then transport it back as an FBX file. This is just purely so we don't get this type of screen once inside. Now, did import the ship asset, but I should say that I didn't know that there would be no interior, so I had to improvise from there. I believe that is mostly it. I believe now should be a good time to just show off the rest of the scenes, which might not have shown earlier. Show you there. Now there's background music there for the main one. Once again, I do hope we are not copyrighted for this. Start obviously starts the game. Quit will only work once it's fully built. If we go into the settings, this will adjust the volume, sensitivity here in whole number spectrums, and the full screens and screen resolutions will only change again once the game is actually released in itself. Since we're working Unity, this will not change. Now, there's also a scene that happens if you either run out of oxygen or you get sucked into the black hole, which would be the game over scene, which is just a simple canvas, which will tell you the reason for death depending how you died. Now here, this was the initial idea instead of the credit scene. Normally, the reason for death would then below say you died from a black hole or you died from something else. Now, I believe I'll show you the credit scene. I do. Thank you for listening, Robert. That we all.
Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you for extending the deadline twice. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.